I know I say this in every video, but just a couple of hours ago, I was in the worst pain I was ever in my life, and that's because I was psychologically burdened by the fact that I'd be making calls once again to America tonight for 3 hours, and I didn't know before that I would actually end up getting sidetracked for like 2.5 hours. Actually, no, 3 hours. I still technically haven't completed everything, but I just kind of need to leave it tonight. But the thing is, I've decided that I just have better things to do at the moment. Actually, that's not the case. Like, should I be cold calling now? That's not the point of this video anyway. The point of this video is that emotions are so fickle and transient that you wouldn't even believe it. Like, I actually feel okay again now, even though just a couple of hours ago I felt like death would be a mercy with how much torture I was in. Like, I came home and I was just I was my mind was driving me absolutely insane with the amount of stress that was going on in it. Mate, I'm literally like having trouble keeping my hair because I'm just like I'm I'm stressing out so much about this thing. And I was thinking of the two calls I'd have again today, and they're not even stressful in themselves, but just thinking of having to do them it stressed me out so much. And thinking of doing the call yesterday stressed me out so much as well. But a couple of hours have passed and I'm sort of fine now. I'm still not. I'm sure I'm still not in ideal condition, but I'm okay compared to what I was. And that's the thing. Like, you could be feeling awful miserable, and like that life isn't really worth living because you're in so much torment. But then when you go on a bit, you realize that it wasn't so bad at all because you're um it was just a fickle emotion. Again, it's just a case of whether you care about the pain you experienced in the past or whether you care more about just your current experience. Literally, the current experience wins every single time. The problem people have is they also take this to mean the future as well. So your brain just thinks that, oh, the future isn't the moment either. Therefore, it doesn't matter either. The future matters about as much as the past because the present matters so much. Like, they both matter like 0%, and the present matters the full 100. And that because of that, like you're you're so sensitive to every single stimulatory stimuli. I'm absolutely butchering the phrasing on that. Stimulating sensory perception. That's you're hypersensitive to it in the present. You gravitate away from pain in the present. You gravitate towards pleasure, more so away from pain, because pleasure is literally just the absence of pain. That's it. Like, actual pleasure. Now, there are some kinds of pleasures which have substance in themselves, but truly pleasure is if a pleasurable thing is a thing in itself, then that means it's not good for you. So, for example, overstimulation in certain areas are un unhealthy. But when you have your needs met and you have oh my gosh, that's just a breathtaking realization I've had now. Every single pleasure that you have that you don't need is a vice. Every single one. Every single thing you have that you don't need is a vice because we have like this pyramid of needs, right? So we have the physical needs, which are food, water, shelter. Then we have the safety needs, not running around near a cliff all the time, or not jumping out your window or something like that. And then you have the other needs, which are what are they? That they're upper tier needs. They're like esteem needs, yeah. So you feel okay about yourself, and then above that again is the social needs, which you don't need as much. Now, I say I'm half okay for the base. For actually I'm decently okay for food needs. For safety needs, I'm sort of okay, maybe 70-80%. I don't know if I'll actually, yeah, I think I'm pretty safe for that. It's just my quality of life isn't great, but my safety is actually pretty good. So yeah, 100% for that. Um, and then let's see, what's the next one? Esteem needs. I have literally no ego because I haven't had time to build one up. I have some sort of an ego, but I don't know. Put that 20%. I don't have that need fulfill much. And then friend needs, or relationship needs, about 40%. I have my sisters, and then what is it? But I don't actually talk with anyone really like consistently at all. Um, I don't meet up with my friends. I haven't met up with anyone in 3 months. So yeah, I leave that 40%. Then above that again is self actualization, and that's where you feel like you're doing something actual in the world. And funnily enough, this is probably one of my higher ones. I'd say it's about 80-85%, but it doesn't mean much when my other needs aren't really fulfilled entirely, which is exactly why it doesn't matter how strong your building is. If you don't have a strong enough foundation underneath it, it's going to crumble. Therefore, the fact that I have great self actualization doesn't matter a crap, because I I don't have like high enough esteem needs or high enough social needs for it. Therefore, it's simply not going to work out. And now it's not like I think lowly of myself. It's more like I just don't think about myself at all. Like I don't really take much pride in my achievements because I just do them, and I suffer so much to achieve them that I just, it's not like a fair thing. It's more like I just don't have the energy to do it. I work like crazy to get all of the academic awards in sixth year, and then I just couldn't really have much energy to care about them afterwards. Like I cared a bit about them, but not until a while after I finished the exams. Um, then there's self transcendence, which I'm also pretty good in, 60-70% in. Basically, it's where you become an entirely different kind of person. You replace the person you were, you replace the weakling inside. And the way you do that is putting yourself through instant pain. It's the opposite to instant gratification, which is the way that most people's lives crumble. You know, you feel so good at the moment, but what does that really matter when it's going to be gone in a moment? And in the same way, instant pain is also so bad in the moment, and it's horrible in the moment. But a couple hours later, like today, and you're gonna be fine. Like, so really, you should not take anything you don't need, because like the most extremely fulfilled people in the world, who are just so happy with their lives, literally just have all of or most of their needs met compared to others. And people who take pleasure in things, they're not as happy because they don't have their needs fulfilled. For example, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but if you have a fat person and who likes to stuff themselves with chocolate every day, don't worry, I used to be one of these as well, because something else in their life was missing. That means that you're not compensating for their missing need. You're just crutching it with something else that makes another need less sustainable. For example, your missing need might be relationship support or something, and therefore you don't feel enough understanding in your soul, and because of that you want to fill your soul with, or your body with, other types of understanding, which is sensory pleasure, which is chocolate, and therefore it acts as a temporal substitute, and it keeps your mind dopaminergically alleviated, and therefore you're not going to suffer too much in the moment. Because of that, though, you're making your health worse, and therefore you're actually starting to crumble the foundation when you're trying to alleviate the top, which is pretty ironic, because um, that's really what instant gratification is. It's it's when you're not able to reach the top of the tower, and then you end up like taking something out the window, and then your hand goes back too far, and then you end up crumbling a wall beneath you, and then the thing starts to shake, and then it's possible that you're going to fall over completely aka, not going to mention it, but that's a pretty good analogy of it, I think. So yeah, you just need to be prepared for the instant feedback, and I was prepared for it today with calling America. I probably shouldn't have done this, but I went ahead and made 5 phone calls anyway because I thought that um, it would just be a good idea to get myself uncomfortable again right before I go to bed. I went to sleep last night extremely miserable because of how awful of an experience I had with calling people. It was awful. Like I just kept getting messed up again and again, and then this morning when I woke up, I felt completely fine. Like I was a new person. It was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I just completely forgot about everything that happened last night. While emotionally did, I didn't forget it logically, of course, since I'm recounting it now. But you know what I mean. If you're able to understand that these loops are literally they're just thoughts in themselves, like, and resistance is not going to go away. Like resistance is the force that stops you and seduces you into stopping working, because you just it either manifests itself through comfort or through fear of doing the thing, or rationalization or something like that. It comes in many different forms. I recommend the Trials by Fire video by Charlie Morgan if you want to learn more about that. I'm not going to explain it all here, but basically, it's the force that stops you from achieving what you want. It's basically just there to counteract your goals. So you have to you sort of fall back into yourself when you intend to stretch out to someone else. That's It's something that you need to account for um, when you're going through all of these different emotions when you're trying to get something done, and that's what I'm doing now. And this last couple of days, like this week, has been a genuine nightmare. I could have never imagined anything like it. Like I don't think any other person my age could actually handle this. I don't think anyone could. I don't think there is a single other person in the world who was 19 years old who could handle this. I don't. There might be a couple of guys in their 20s, but those guys are going to be extremely successful as well. So I'm I'm probably the only one. There's probably others as well. Okay, fair. You might have a couple who just have the same pain tolerance as I do, but there's not going to be many. It's going to be one in a million, 1 in 10 million, and that's how I know. And the less people that are willing to deal with this amount of despair, the more I'm going to stand out, and I absolutely intend to. And again, this time in a couple of days, I'm going to be completely fine. And I've known that Monday when I was miserable. I've known that Tuesday when I was miserable. I've known that Wednesday when I was miserable, and I know it now. So if you're really going through it and you're really finding it unpleasant, then make yourself more unpleasant. Just keep going. Just keep going down. Feel how far down you can go, and go further. Go down the black well. If you start feeling something creepy, crawling up your trousers, then fold up into your hand and just, because it's best to immerse yourself in the abyss before the abyss immerses itself into you.